In this video, I interview educational YouTuber Thomas Frank, and he shares 5 power tips for how he grew his YouTube channel to over 1.2 million subscribers and a very unique title and thumbnail strategy to help your videos get massive views. Coming up.
YouTube Secrets is out now. Learn the strategies of today's top video influencers in this step-by-step YouTube success playbook. Get your copy today at tubesecretsbook.com.
Hey, what's up? Sean here with Video Influencers, helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online video. And I'm super pumped to be sitting here with Thomas Frank, YouTuber with over 1.2 million subscribers, awesome entrepreneur, world-class content creator. How's it going?
It's going awesome, man. This conference is amazing. And it's good to see you again.
Yeah, really good to see you and excited about your success and everything that you're doing on YouTube. But for those that are maybe just meeting you, what is your channel all about, and what's kind of the summary of your journey?
Yeah, so my channel is basically built to help people become more capable, typically in the areas of academics, how to become more productive, more effective in your work, and also moving into some like nutrition, some fitness, stuff like that, but generally productivity.
I love that. And when did you start, and how long have you been doing this?
I've been YouTubing for 4 years and creating content for about 8. 2010, I came across this blog that was all about how to be a better college student. I was a college student. I loved it. And at the end of that year, they put out this call for new writers. And I thought, hey, that'd be a great opportunity for my resume. I get to share what I'm doing to be better at college. But they rejected my guest blog post in my application. So I had this post that I had taken an entire night to write, and I'm thinking, why just throw this away when I can put up my own blog? So I did that. Didn't think it would go anywhere other than being a line item on my resume, but it turned into a career.
That's super cool. And that blog was called?
collegeinfogeek.com.
And that still exists today, but eventually kind of transitioned over to YouTube.
It's more that we added YouTube as a third arm of the business. So we had the blog, we have the podcast, College Info Geek podcast, and then the YouTube channel. But then that became the biggest thing by far.
I love that. And it's kind of encouraging too, because now you kind of have this empire. You've got a couple full-time people, a couple freelancers helping you, but you really did this solo for 5 years, hustling, and a lot of our community, that's the season they're in. They're kind of in that side hustle season. And in this video, we're sharing really 5 pro tips for growth, for kind of figuring out your niche, and for really making a greater impact on this platform. And the first one you talked about was Passion Mashin. Like, what's all that about?
Passion Mashin, absolutely. And I got to give credit to my friend Matt Giovanisi for that term. I loved it. I stole it from his podcast, Money Lab. But I've always had this idea that if there's a lot of competition in the niche that you're in, why not take that niche and mix it with something else? Because you put yourself at a coordinate where nobody else exists. So when I got into YouTube, study content was basically comprised of high school vloggers who did mostly makeup tutorials saying, oh, this is what I do for high school. And cameras set at the back of the room recording a lecture on study skills. That was it. So I'm like, what if I could do super high quality, well-researched academic success tips videos, but then mix in my other interests, anime and video games and things like that. And it turns out that a lot of students like that kind of stuff. So that kept them interested, and that meant that there was nobody really doing what I was doing.
That's so amazing. And it's also, nowadays your influence is much bigger. I would say that even your content has gotten a little bit broader, but we're also talking about the importance of starting kind of specific. Like some people just want to jump right into the personal development niche or something like that. What do you think about starting specific?
You got to start specific because you have to build an area where people know you, right? And if you can find an area where there's no competition, then you can be the one name in that area. So for me, it was academics. If you go and read like The Power of Habit and you're like, well, I'm going to be a personal development guru because I read that and I read Steve Pavlina, I know every tip there is to know, I'm now a guru. Yeah, you and 500 other jokers. But if you're like, I'm the one person who really knows how to do hand lettering, well, then your name is Sean McCabe and you build a niche there, and then you show that you can build a business there and you can transition that into, giving advice about business. And now people listen to you.
Wow, super powerful. Now, tip number 2 is quality get 1% better. What does that mean?
Every single day, or with every single piece of finished work. And I actually don't want to say every single day, because depending on the art form you choose or your medium, you may not be able to publish every single day. I put out a video once a week. So whatever your frequency you choose, and it should be something semi-frequent, choose one aspect of that and get 1% better with each video. So for me, it was maybe animation this week. Next week, I'm going to work on the cadence of my speech. Next week, I'm going to work on the color grading in my videos or the lighting setup. And 135 videos down the line, you realize, wow, everything is actually pretty professional, but it was all very gradual, so it never felt too overwhelming.
That's powerful. And influencers watching, maybe leave us a comment below of something you want to level up. Like, what could be improved in your video? What could get 1% better, whether that's your titles, your on-camera presence, whatever it is. Definitely tell us in the comment section. Now, the third tip you mentioned was actually networking. You think that's important for growing your influence?
Yeah, but I don't like that word.
Okay.
It's a good catch-all term for meeting people, but when I go to a conference like this, I go with the sole intention of meeting people to become friends and meeting people who I would just share interests with, people to have a great conversation with. Number one, that takes the pressure off. Because if I go in here totally gung-ho about business, then everyone who meets me feels like they're obligated to work with me, or they're obligated to give me something, or I'm coming in with the intention of getting something from everybody. And I don't think that works very well. That doesn't create easy connections. If I come in just to meet friends, then those kinds of things are going to happen organically. But I also have somebody to go skiing with, right? And I think that I've learned more from events like these than I have looking through internet forums and blog articles giving me tips. But it's all that initial intention of finding just people to connect with on a friendship level.
So powerful. And of course, I think for those watching, they might want to stretch themselves a little bit, like tap into some savings, maybe risk a little bit to get to an event. But if someone's like, man, travel, like being at something like this seems like it's just not a possibility right now. Do you have any advice for how you could apply that?
You go to local events, I mean, you may see your Gary Vaynerchuk's or your Sean Cannell's living in faraway places of the world, and you think these are the people who know the things I need to know, and that may be true, but there's probably somebody who goes to like a local entrepreneurs meetup in your city who knows more than you do.
Wow.
Or who could connect you with those people because they know them.
Yeah.
I'm going to live in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 6 months.
Sure.
How many other YouTubers live there?
Good point. And actually, one of my favorite sites is meetup.com.
Yeah.
And looking for local entrepreneurship, social media meetups, and just seeing who you run into there.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that. Now, number 4 was really lifelong learning. How important has that been?
I mean, this is so incredible. And I think what we were talking about earlier was the fact that there's no, I think, one tip that was the catalyst for huge success. And I think any entrepreneur you talk to, if they're really honest with you, they're going to tell you, I've spent months and months and months of my life just sitting on the computer or reading books, going through a zillion tips and trying all kinds of stuff. And to be quite honest, I can't attribute a huge jump in success to any one of them, but a lot of them moved the needle ever so slightly. And over time, when you look at things on a longer time scale, that needle really did move. But you can't look at any one point and be like, it's because of this. It's because of a tiny thing.
Yeah.
So don't discount the importance of things that give you small wins.
And that's kind of like the compound effect. And so when you talk about that, I sometimes wonder if people can relate to how much hustle goes into it. Like, what would that look like for you as far as amount of study or time put in?
I mean, that would look like occasionally staying up until 1 a.m. because you're like tweaking the colors of buttons on your homepage, or you're going through a single article trying to optimize headers and titles, or you're going through a single video trying to match your color grading so things don't get jarring for viewers. I think the details matter in those cases. And I don't say this to intimidate people and think that there's a zillion things you have to do to be successful. There isn't one recipe book of a million things. I just think that every single entrepreneur's individual journey is comprised of a million little decisions that all individually contributed something.
Yeah. So and the reality is it's like the iceberg picture where you see a little bit of someone's success, but below the surface is like so much unseen work.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
There's the passion, there's the hustle, there's the big things like networking and lifelong learning and the 1% principle, but we can't discount the small things that do make their contribution.
Now, you're at 1.2 million subscribers. You're getting a lot of views, a lot of impact. You're growing really fast. And tip number 5 is a big thing that leads into that, and that is understanding your audience as it pertains to your title and your thumbnail. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so when people ask me about success on YouTube, I say it boils down to 3 main elements. It's title, thumbnail, and watch time. That's what's going to determine whether the algorithm pushes your stuff out or not. And you have to get people into the video to watch it before watch time is even a factor, so it's all title and thumbnail. Now, you and I are probably both smart guys. We're pretty cerebral and think about the content pretty hard, but we come at it from the perspective of a creator. And that is not always the perspective that the audience has, which means that we can sometimes be in the content too much to understand what the audience wants. So I'll tell a story about one particular video I made that could have bombed, but is my 3rd most successful video because of one small tweak. I made a video about something called the spaced repetition principle, which essentially means that if you space out practice instead of studying every single day, you actually learn the material better because your brain remembers things better when it's very close to forgetting them, and then you review them. So I was going to call the video like how to learn more effectively with spaced repetition. And then I had a thought. Who is putting spaced repetition
Nobody,
into a search
they don't
term?
know that exists.
They don't know that term, right?
Yeah.
So then I challenged myself. What is this video actually providing? It's providing a very powerful method to remember what you study. And then I could actually rephrase it as a question, how to remember what you study. So then I called it the most powerful way to remember what you study. And the thumbnail says like how to remember more effectively or something like that.
Yeah.
And that video has 3 million views. If I had gone with that technical term that I liked, it wouldn't have done nearly.
It could have just
well.
had thousands.
Could have had 20,000,
Wow, so that's super powerful. So really tapping into what your audience is potentially thinking, and how have you got to know that? I mean, is there anything you've read or studied? I know for us, we try to do the same. I think time has helped us, but is there any tools that have helped you to try to understand your audience better and maybe human psychology?
For tools...
Or books.
I mean, I think that there's a lot of the whole like 1 million unseen decisions and actions at play here. But the book Influence by Robert Cialdini is a great book. And then there's a tool called the CoSchedule Headline Analyzer.
Wow.
Now, this will give a title that you put in a score based on power words and unusual words, things like that. I would not take the score at face value because I've sat there and I've gamed it. I'll put like blood babies take over the world, and that gets like 100 or something.
Sure.
So obviously it's just using an algorithm, but it's a very good tool for brainstorming and forcing yourself to be creative with your titles.
I love that.
So if you sit there and just challenge yourself to come up with 20 titles in this thing, and then look at your high scoring ones, you're probably going to find one that meets that little sweet spot criteria of good score on the tool, but also makes sense for what you're doing.
Absolute brilliant. And is that available online?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like just Google CoSchedule Headline Analyzer. It's part of CoSchedule's suite of tools, but it's a free one.
Perfect. So we'll link that up in the description as well. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
The thunder. Bring the thunder. Lightning round, lightning round, lightning round. 3, 2, 1. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Book every influencer watching should read.
I'm going to go with The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield.
Nice. Super good book. We'll link that up. Put the in the description, too, if you want to check that out. Bingeable show you like or TV show, favorite show?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't even know what that is. Sounds cool, though. Cat or dog?
Cat.
Cat. You
I
have
love
a
them
cat?
both, though. I have a cat.
What's the cat's name?
Arwen.
Irwin. So cute. Favorite social network besides YouTube?
Instagram.
Favorite social network besides Instagram?
Not being on social media.
Love it. That's all that matters, man. YouTube and Instagram. That's all anybody.
Twitter, but I don't know.
All anybody ever says, though, man. We should stop asking this question because that's all anybody says. One of your favorite documentaries or movies?
The Big Short.
Ooh, I lived through
Kind
that,
of
man.
a documentary and a movie at the same time.
Dude, my wife and me went through The Big Short on
Yeah.
2 houses, bro.
It's like one of my favorite movies ever. It's so
One of
well
my-
made.
It was a really good movie.
Ugh.
Hidden talent
Hidden talent?
that a lot of people don't know about, or our audience definitely wouldn't know about it.
I'm really, really good at Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have it, like, in a game system, home setup?
We do, but I don't play it there. I go to the arcade.
Yeah, you need
Because I play doubles.
You can do doubles.
Yeah.
That's sick. No miss morning ritual.
No miss. Feeding my cat and watering my plants.
There you go.
You may think that I have like a billionaire morning routine, but I don't.
Sure.
I'm experimenting with new ones all the time.
But at least you're keeping all the living things alive.
Yes. Yeah, keep the living thing. Take care of the life forms that rely on me.
That you're responsible for. If you could give a TED Talk, what would it be about?
It would be about the fact that our brains need training wheels. I'm a firm believer in building systems with limitations and restrictions and sometimes consequences, because left to our own devices, our brains will take the path of easiest or least resistance.
How has failure or a setback in your life set you up for future success?
I mean,
And do you have a favorite failure?
I think my favorite failure was getting rejected from that original blog.
Yeah.
Because that kind of set me up for doing this blog.
That's cool. So sometimes in the moment, rejection can feel like devastating.
Yeah.
But very well could be one door closing so another one can open.
Exactly. Yeah, and sometimes a failure points you to something that will be much, much better.
Favorite place in the entire world and why?
City Museum in St. Louis, Missouri, because it is a jungle gym for adults. There's a lot of kids there, but adults are welcome.
One of my favorite answers, because it's very specific. Most people are like, Hawaii, and you said a specific museum.
Yeah, and it's not even really a museum. You got to go.
It sounds
You just
awesome.
got to go. Yeah, Google it.
There's a famous phrase, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done things differently. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Dude, so much butterfly effect stuff could happen. I'm pretty satisfied with how things went. But to be serious,
Yeah.
it would be to be empathetic and to not suggest solutions to people when they're hurting, to give support and then wait. And then when they are of a clearer mind, then present solutions.
And then finally, favorite quote that you kind of like to live your life by or you think about often?
Show up and have something to show. So this is, I don't know if anyone ever said this. Maybe I came up with it. I don't know. Put that on Quote Investigator.
Yeah.
But really, it's, go to events like these. Show up at stuff that you don't feel like going to, but also be doing stuff in your other hours that makes you interesting.
And have something to show. Thomas Frank, show up and have something to show. Tweet that at Video Influencers, at Thomas Frank.
At Tom Frankly.
On
I was born
Twitter.
too late.
Tweet that. We'll retweet that. Show up and have something to show. Pew, 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 pew. Lightning round. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for coming on with Video Influencers. Of course, we want to link to your stuff. You mentioned a few things. We'll put links in the description, but just break it down where you're pumping out content.
Absolutely. YouTube.com/Thomas Frank. Tom Frankly on Instagram, Tom Frankly on Twitter, and collegeinfogeek.com.
And
the places.
Finally, of course, building a YouTube channel is really entrepreneurship. I mean,
Yes.
you got to you do everything yourself. No one's like paying you to show up. No one's paying you. You got to make your own money, do your own hustle. And it really comes with ups and downs. I mean, there could be discouraging times where you feel like the work is not paying off. Can you just speak to the influencers community, some final words of encouragement about getting through the seasons of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, absolutely. Go read a book by Seth Godin called The Dip. I found this book very helpful. For me personally, it basically just espouses this concept that there's always a romantic honeymoon period in anything you get into. But after that, you got to shovel crap for a long time. Or as James Clear would put it, you have to just put in a lot of underground root building work before something actually sprouts out from the ground and you can see it. And almost every entrepreneur has gone through that. The other thing, and this is something that I hear from a lot of friends, they think that all these other people that they see on the internet were overnight successes. But that's because that's the only time you get to see them. All those people went through the same long period of, sometimes uncertainty, sometimes depression that you may be going through. So you just got to work through it. Get support, talk with friends, communicate your issues, but keep working as well.
I love that, Thomas. Thanks so much for encouraging us. And I just want to acknowledge you. Your career, your life really speaks to that. The excellence of your content. At one point, I discovered you. At one point, we met. But clearly, you were putting in the work, building that root system years and years and years before that. So thank you for everything you're putting out to the world and all the value you're adding.
Thank you as well, man.
Question of the day in Influencers. Thomas is going to ask it.
What's your favorite anime?
Ooh, good question. Tell us in the comments below. And Thomas, what's yours?
It's a pretty obscure one. It's called Serial Experiments Lain. Not a whole lot of people have seen it.
Where can you get access to it?
I have a Blu-ray. I don't know if it's on any... Oh, no, actually, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's all on YouTube.
Oh, killer.
It's like hard sci-fi. It's weird. It's good.
Sweet. All right, we'll link that up then if it's on YouTube. Description below. So thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you're new here. And for other videos in our interview series, click or tap the screen right there. For another video from Video Influencers, click or tap the screen right there. Until next time, this channel is all about helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online video. Keep crushing it, and we will talk soon.